Hey guys, and welcome back to another episode of Truth Bombs and Hot Flushes where midlife gets real. Today we're joined by Montsheng Mohlatsane. I hope I've got the surname right. A mining engineer, leader, and now MSc graduate whose journey is a true reflection of resilience, purpose, and redefining strength. So welcome, Montsheng, to TBHF.
Thank you, Chantal. Thank you for having me.
I think it's a huge pleasure on our side, knowing that you've come all the way from Johannesburg.
From Valcom.
Yes, well, there we go, all the way from Valcom, and sitting in our hot seat today. So we're so appreciative of your time, because we do know your schedule is not the quietest. So we're very, very appreciative to have you here in our seat. So let's get into it. Gosh, Montsheng, mining, female mining. Oh my gosh. I am so intrigued about your story and to get into it. I think it was an empowering moment finding out this woman in mining, I think empowering for all us women. So tell us, you've spent over 2 decades, right, in mining. What actually drew you to the industry?
So mining has always been a part of me indirectly. So I'm from Melody, Virginia. It's a small town.
Okay.
In the Free State, a mining town, a town that came because of the mine.
Wow.
So I grew up seeing the headgear outside of my mom's home. So mines were all over around us. At that time, I didn't comprehend. My father also worked at the mine. So I got introduced to mining as a career. I remember in grade 12, one of my classmates came to class with the bursary forms from the mining company around us. I applied, went to the interviews, and I think I was writing mathematics exam, the final exams for matric. Yeah. After the exam, I got home and I found a letter. That was the letter from the bursar confirming that I have been awarded the bursary, and with conditions that the next year I should enroll at the mining school and start with my experiential learning. So I
started. Must have been a moment.
Yes. So indirectly, my dad gifted me this opportunity because he was working for that very same company that had given me the bursary. Yes, ma'am. So at the age of 17, I landed in the mining industry.
So straight after grade 12, after you went into it. So were you underground as a learner, basically?
Yes, I went. I started with the learner miner training. So the first basic mining qualification is the blasting certificate that I had acquired that year. Mm-hmm. So the conditions were simple. We give you experiential learning in preparation for your university studies. So the year that followed that, in 2005, I then started my mining engineering degree at University of Johannesburg.
Wow. Yeah. Wow. So what were some of the defining moments for you during that journey? So you say as a learner, you were there for a year, mm-hmm. right? How was it walk us through this? I mean, being underground, and I'm claustrophobic, so me just watching this on TV or seeing miners on TV gives me this, I can't breathe. How was it for you?
Mm-hmm. So I think that was the very first learnings of humbleness. So here's the girl that comes from straight A environment, high confidence, and you get into an environment that is a real work environment. So I got humbled, hardcore. Yeah. But profound learnings of my leadership journey started at the very same moment, because I got to learn to listen, to rely on other people. I depended on frontline workers that taught me the work. So I moved from being this clever little girl to being somebody who listens, who is alert. And that for me is an underground environment. When you're not familiar with it, you don't know what to expect. That's why words like claustrophobic comes in. Yes. Because we think it's a hole in the ground.
That's my perception of it.
Exactly. Yeah. And if I tell people that we've got machines size of this, the wheel size, height of this roof, walking underground, That's how big. There's another world
Wow.
out there. It's massive.
And here's us thinking, well, of course, narrow-minded here, thinking it's just, like these like little caves. That's the vision that I get. It's crazy. So and like the first couple of weeks getting into this, like how was it for you? Like from emotion, like the emotions.
I was young, I was excited. I
Yeah.
didn't know what to expect,
Yes.
but I was eager. I wanted to learn, I wanted to
Yes.
understand.
Yes.
And that's the thing with me. I'm always inquisitive. So I'll always ask out, lean and lean. So the first journey was just about experiencing this environment.
Yeah.
And you get to learn the people, the culture, the work, understanding the design, the mine design, how the mine operates, the value chain, the production processes. And yeah, leading teams, being led,
Yeah.
and learning how to drill and blast. That is our
Yes.
core
Wow.
to get the gold out of the ground.
So this is a predominantly, well, male-dominated field. What were your challenges? Were there any challenges that you had to actually face? I mean, you've been there for 2 decades now. So can you like walk us through some of the challenges being a female in this?
Yes, so every day as women, we are confronted with challenges of
challenges, yeah.
navigating, being ourselves, being naturalists, and earning a living. So I think in every industry, it's a universal challenge. But yes, mining environment was never designed with a woman in mind. So we struggle to navigate that truth for the entire life of our careers. So it's basically an issue of culture more than it is of compliance.
Yeah.
Yeah. So, but over time, there are ladies that came before us that laid the foundation,
Okay.
and we came afterwards, and we still walking the ground so that those that comes after us can find a
Yes.
better place more
Yes.
than what we found. But the industry is evolving, and we have created communities. I'm part of the women that founded the Women in Mining Forums. I participate actively in speaking from a woman point of view,
Yeah.
and unpacking our realities, talking about redesigning with the woman in mind. Because honestly, Chantal, when a mine were designed, there was never an inch where one thought
A woman
a
is
woman will work here at any given time.
So this, I mean, it's like such an incredible moment, and you being a part of this, that you are one of the women, and I mean, this needs to go down in history because, as you said, no one would even have thought years ago that a woman would be down there, in these mines.
Yes.
So, gosh, I'm like just blown away with this.
Yeah, laws were different back then. Women were not allowed to work at the mines.
Women were not
And
allowed to do a lot of things. It's like a list of things, and
yeah,
so it's so impressive of how far we have come, and how much we have evolved, and how much we're coming into our own as well. I feel just you doing what you've been doing is so inspirational to so many women, and especially young women, to know that, hey, the sky literally is the limit. So, yeah, wow.
yeah, no. When you are given an opportunity to serve, you need to do it with integrity and with intent.
Absolutely.
Because I was watching Trevor Noah's show
Yes.
of Joy in the Trenches.
Yes.
And when he said, when history has to be read, what would you have become? And I found that to be very profound, to say every opportunity, if you're given an opportunity in life, make the best of it.
Absolutely. So, like, walk us through you're an MSc graduate. So, walk us through that, because I know there was a bit of starts and stops and starts again, and that's okay. I think we need to know that that's okay. There isn't a specific timeline that we need to do, anything, but to just get up and get going is so important. So walk us through that, and the highs, the lows, the yeah.
So the MSc journey started 8 years ago.
Right.
I remember at the time I started because very early I started experiencing loneliness at work and I needed to find a distraction. And I will always go to my center learning,
Yes, yes.
gathering knowledge and finding new things that I didn't know exist. So I enrolled for this course. This was supposed to be a 2 years course
Right.
with coursework, 5 courses, and a research report. So first year I went in, did my coursework, cruised nicely, finished them in
Right.
record time. And I struggled with research. I really, really struggled with research to grasp the method, the intent, the why, the rationale. Initially, I had wanted to do a topic on minerals policy. I couldn't resonate with the topic at that time. And there was just a complete misalignment. And before I knew it, I had lost interest, and I didn't know how to ask for help. And then I just lost interest and I stopped. So time moves. 8 years, when last week I was sitting and reflecting when I got the news from the varsity that I've actually completed the requirements for the study. And I could recall every year when I would got the message that failed to meet the requirement for the study for the year.
And here's
and
the stuff.
and now we have done it. And I was sitting and reflecting and said, Montsheng, how did 8 years pass? Time, it's so precious. Ne? You blink, it's gone.
It's gone.
It's gone, just like that. So it's been a journey. I lost interest. As a straight A student, we are conditioned to think that things comes easy. And when they don't, real frustration hits.
It's a hard thing to accept and deal with.
It's the hard thing to accept and deal with. And I see it in my daughter as well. She's a straight, she collects gold bars and academic bars and everything. And recently she joined her brother on a horseback riding equitation classes. And the day she fell off the horse, she wanted to quit. And then we had a conversation two days ago because she fell again. It's been 2 years that they've been at the clubhouse learning how to ride horses.
So she still carried on.
She still carried on.
She's got a mother's fight in her, definitely.
So profound conversation we had 2 days ago when she fell. She was like, Mom, you the risk manager, and you're not even thinking about my risk that I exposed to when I ride these horses. And I'm like,
it's like a mini Montsheng just giving it back to you.
Yes.
Yeah.
And I'm sitting there, I'm humbled, I'm listening. And I'm like, but we navigate risk every day in our lives. What do you mean? This air that you breathe in, do you even know what it contains? That's a risk that you're taking every day by just breathing. And she was like, no, Mom, I need to avoid this risk. Now I'm a risk manager. I'm not a risk avoidant. So when we know about the risk, we are aware. And then we need to take actions that help us to mitigate that risk. And guess what? She's still riding.
Now look at that.
She's still riding, and she's the biggest supporter of his brother because his brother got into the sport as part of therapy. So the tag team doing it. And reflecting back to my journey as MSc, I remember when Shompa said, what is the risk? Do you understand the risk? What is the gain? Why am I doing this? I asked myself those questions. And in 2021, I lost my mom. My mom passed away during COVID-19, a very lonely period. You don't know what to do. Everything is rushed. We need to move. There's uncertainty everywhere. It's rush. And
so did you lose your mom due to
yes,
COVID?
I lost my mom due to COVID. At that time, we were both tested positive. While quarantining, she was admitted in a hospital. So yeah,
And it was a difficult time because it wasn't a normal, nothing was normal. Nothing about COVID was normal.
Nothing.
From having to bury someone to your loved one going into hospital. It wasn't like, oh, it's visiting hours, I can go and check in on her. Oh, and she needs this or that. It was so completely different, that entire situation. How did you guys navigate that?
It was the uncertainty was just so unimaginable. Hey, I remember after finishing my quarantine, the first thing I wanted to do was to see my mother in hospital,
Yes.
and the system could not allow that at that time, and I had to fight. I had to fight to go see my mom, and we are allowed. I saw
You did see her.
We did
Oh,
see her
thank
together
God.
with my
Yes.
family and my
Yes.
sisters and the grandkids. We saw her 3 times before she passed on. So, and those moments really gives you learnings in life where nothing stays the same
Same.
if
Yeah.
we don't act.
Yeah.
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 So if I just stood at home, felt sorry for myself and for my mom, she would have died in hospital. And
And she would have
the
not seen her
last
kids, her
vision
family.
that we would
Yes.
have had, it was her not well, grumpy, and but we
Yes.
managed to have those last conversation, and that to
And I
me
think
was
that's
the biggest
priceless.
gift,
Yeah.
priceless,
Yeah. Yeah.
priceless. So when I lost her in 2021, I remember Shompo, my daughter, wanting to speak at my mom's funeral. I'm like, Shompo, you're just in
Okay.
grade one, you're 6 years, what are
Yes.
you going to say there? It's busy, we prep. No, mom. And the elder said, Matena, just let her speak. And then what she said there, I felt like my mom was just talking back to us. She said to both families, naming them, that now that my grandma is no more, she has taught us so many things, and she named them. And it's up to you as individual if you have grasped it and you have taken some on your own, because we will not have her again. So do you have your tools? What have you taken from her life?
This
And
is a grade one
a
child
grade
now
one
standing
child.
there. No. Wow.
So that was, I think, my mom's death kind of ignited something in me. My mom was an educator, so she loved education. Her life story is a journey on her own, but she was a community worker, she was a preschool teacher, she was a learner herself, she was
So
involved
she
in
set a solid
government.
foundation for all of you.
Yes,
Yeah.
she did. And she exposed me all the time. I
Yeah.
remember going to my mom
Yeah.
everywhere, wherever she go. I went to the same crèche that she taught, and it became a norm. I
Yeah.
remember getting invited to a council sitting there at the balcony on the top and listening to council having deliberations about local government matters. My mom would take me to workshops where kids' rights and duties and stuff were discussed, to
Okay.
libraries and
Yes.
stuff. So that journey of her wanting and loving, because in the beginning she never got the opportunity to, but when she got it, she used it. So after my mom's death, I went back to the school and
Yeah.
I had to explain myself. I had to go inwards and define the why. Why did you stop and why do you want to come back, and
Yeah.
how is it different this time? And fair enough, I was admitted back into the program after a lengthy and years of motivations and giving confidence that I'll be able to complete the process. And I
Yes.
went back, and Chantal, something in the journey is you will get people that support you. Last year I read a book, The Alchemist,
Yes. Yes.
and there's something about the book. So I like going to the bookshop, buying books for my children. They love reading.
Yes.
So I was talking to the book attendant. I said, no, I want a book for my daughter. She's now getting a little bit older. Let's look for something that grows with her.
Yes.
And he gave me The Alchemist. I looked at the book and I said, yo, something so serious for a
Yes.
little
Yes.
child
Yes.
like this. But I took the book home, and then the other day I took the book and then started doing a review of it, and I read it. I never finished his book, but this particular book I couldn't put down.
That's actually a book that's on my list to read. So now that you're telling me this, I feel like I'm even more eager to
Please do.
really.
Please
Is
do.
it a life-changing book?
It's a book that gets you inwards and
Okay.
wants you to think about who you are and what you want. So San Diego, the main character in the book, had a dream, and he went on a journey to pursue this dream. But he learned certain things along the journey. The
Okay.
profound one that links to my journey with my master's degree is you will find people along the journey who will help you to get to your dream. And I found
so
my
true.
people. I found them.
Yes.
And every time when the journey got tired, the exhaustion kicked in, the pressure kicked in, the motherhood, the work.
And that was my next question coming to you. How did you manage to juggle the role of mum and wife and studying? And there's just so much of demands from Montsheng, but there's only one Montsheng. How did you experience burnout?
For sure. And burnout to me didn't come gradually. It came with exhaustion over time to a point where my body could not carry me anymore. And you start asking yourself, what am I doing? I felt like I was just a hamster on a wheel.
Yeah. Just
Going. With
but
no
on empty.
End, on empty. And your body keeps records, even when your mind tries to forget. And you will feel it.
Yeah.
Your knees will feel it. Your back will feel it.
Oh, yes.
Your mind will start getting foggy. Every little part of your being will not be in alignment, and you will know.
And it doesn't happen and I say this because I love that we're actually touching onto this, because we all have experienced burnout at some point. But I think we are so programmed and to like be on a go, you know, and our determination, which is a good thing. Because I resonate with you so much on like where you see something and you want to go forward. But we as women, we're juggling not just one thing. We're juggling multiple stuff. And sometimes we do put health on a bit of a back foot, mental health especially, because we know we've got this. You know, we can keep doing this. We don't need, you know, to pause. We can keep going. But I think we forget sometimes that our body, it takes a toll on our body and our minds. And you can't keep running a car if you're not filling fuel in there, you know? And that's when burnout comes, but it comes like out of nowhere. And then boom. You will, as you say, you do see the little signs. You will feel it. You will feel, oh, my body feels just not as strong, or, you know, the energy levels is not there. But you still push through, ignoring it. And then, yeah. So how did you cope with the reality of like, Montsheng has to stop and take a breather now and refuel?
So stopping and relaxing, sometimes we associate it with laziness or with failure and stuff, but it's necessary. So at some point, I had to consult a clinical psychologist. And after telling her my long story, you know, I do this, she was like, ma'am, you need to rest. No, but ma'am, you need to rest.
And when you hear that word of you need to, because I've been there, you need to rest. And you're like, no, but like this. And they're like, no, but truly you need to rest. But it's something that we can't really comprehend. I don't know how it was for you, but...
You can't. And because we want to justify...
That's it.
Why we're doing all this. We want to find reasons.
Yes.
At the end of the day, we're not doing ourselves any justice. So I was forced to take a break, go home, take leave, go home, and just rest. I will wake up in the morning and just bask in the sun.
And the sun does wonders for you. Some vitamin D does wonders.
I'll just sit there in the sun, doing nothing. I had no errands planned. I had no holidays planned. Just be at home and then rest. Nothing. Put the books away. Put the work away. Let the kids play and stop trying to be in charge and in control.
And they will survive. They will be fine. That's it.
So I'm reading a book. It's called The Myth of Normal
Okay.
by Dr. Mathieu. So what he says is, we're making ourselves sick. And I'm like,
So true.
no, how can you
Can,
say
yeah.
that? I remember reading a line where he was saying one of his patients was saying, no, you can't tell us that we already sick, struggling, and now you're telling us that we did
That
it to
we doing,
ourselves.
yeah.
And his scientific research into populating this book, he says that every little time that we neglect ourselves, that we give to others and give to ourselves, we hating ourselves a little more. Ne? And in a long time, the so perceived nice people are the ones that are getting very serious diseases
Yeah.
that have been recorded and studied. And that to me was like, yo, this is serious, huh? What is the doctors? And I kept reading and reading. He goes back in history to say the culture, the toxic culture that we're living in, the stimulants, the exposures and everything in the world, the
Yeah.
social media,
Ah,
kafela, everything. And he says it's what we do to ourselves, how we neglect ourselves, and all those things in the long run. That's where burnout
yeah.
comes in. Because we want, who are we validating when we working 24 hours, not sleeping, not resting? And who are we doing it for?
Yes.
Who are we
Yes.
trying to impress ourselves? No, it's external validation.
But in the middle of it, you are neglecting and you're breaking down your being,
Yes,
but not realizing it as well.
that's what
So
he says. He says
I
we
think he's
need,
got a lot of truth to what he's
and I'm
written in
still
there.
reading the
Yeah.
book. It's a
Yeah.
thick book
Yes.
like this.
Yes.
My husband calls this my
Your
Bible.
Bible.
And I'm still reading it just to try to get into a mind of a physician who has
Yes.
worked
Yes.
with patients, because he says Western medicine needs to look as a person as a whole, body, mind, and soul, everything as a system.
Mm-hmm.
And that is interesting. So
Extremely.
we need to be with ourselves.
I think so. I think it's so important. But also I think it only comes, all of this knowledge kind of just hits you at a specific age. I don't know how you feel about that, but that's how I feel. It's like, take me back to my 20s or 30s, I would think that's complete hogwash. This is coming into my 40s. I feel like you just see everything from a different set of eyes, and you also start to prioritize yourself, because I think we don't do that. And more so when you take on other roles, and yes, your career, yes, the role of wife, role of mother, role of friend, aunt, all these roles, but then you forget you.
Yeah. So in the journey of the 8 years, I had to go through grieving. I think one thing also about the death of my mother, it's reminded me about the death of my father. My father passed away about 15 years ago,
Okay.
and on my birthday.
Oh no.
So,
How did he, if I may ask, how did he pass on?
sudden illness.
Okay.
My dad was at work on Sunday, got admitted in hospital on a Monday, and then passed on Tuesday morning on the 20th of July 2010. So I then started comparing the two experiences of parent. I'm like, how can a child grieve both parents differently? What's going on here? My mom's death, I moaned, I grieved, and I let go of my
Yeah.
mom. We've had our experiences. My dad was different. I felt like I was too young yet to see the journey that unfolded of the seed that he had planted.
Yeah.
So it was a traumatic, very traumatic grief for me. But my mom was a gradual grief. But with this master's journey, when I dedicated, I was writing my dedication on my final submission and going back to my why and reliving the journey, the ups and downs, and saying 8 years ago, this experience will not have felt the same way. So sometimes rejections are
Oh,
redirections.
absolutely.
And I dedicate that degree to both of them, to my dad that paved the way as a miner, a frontline worker, to my mom that valued education. So I took both
Good.
my
And you
parents and I said, I will finish this.
can make them, and they are absolutely proud, I'm sure, looking down on you now. It's
I'm
just
sure they are. I
definitely.
hope they are proud.
Yes, yes.
And Chantal, and that is the story of one's life, is we are in the journey of self-discovery all the time. So in our grief, in our burnout, in our exhaustion, it's how many times do we get up and try
Try
again?
again.
Because in failure, there are so many lessons
Oh, yes.
that we don't get to
I think
realize.
that is so important that we've got to know in life. You will fall down. You might fall down once, you might fall down 50 times. It's all about getting up and moving forward and taking, I get when you're in a situation, right? It's hard to, I think the worst thing, and I get this from a lot of people, men and women. It's like the worst thing you could say to me in a situation, in a horrible situation, is be positive. And I get that. I mean, we're human. Though we want them to see the positive, it's hard when you're sitting in that situation to see it. But try and look past the bad that has happened, and look at what you can take out of there, or how it's going to grow you as a person, and take it and go with it. Grief is something will follow you always. I've lost both my parents, my dad as well, when I was young, suddenly. My mum, it was over a period. And I think when you say, how can you grieve for both parents differently? I get it. Because not that it makes it any way or any less easier, but knowing this, my mum's was a drawn out and your mum had COVID. So, after a while, you eventually know what the end result's going to be, right? So you kind of somewhat psych yourself up to know, listen, she's going to leave us, right? It's not easy when they actually do, though it's still hard. But when you lose your father, and that's like the matriarch, that's like your, the head, so to speak, of the home, and you lose them so in like such an instant, you haven't had time to even comprehend like what's just happened. There was a man that's fit and all well, and now a few days later we are at a funeral.
Exactly.
So it's something so difficult to comprehend, and I think you've achieved so much, right? And as I always say, all the successes in my life and achievements, although it's exciting when you achieve something, but there's that little thing in the back of my head, and I always tell my husband this: I wish my dad were here and my mum were here. And as I just told you, they're looking down on you, proud of you. But I've always had this thing of, no, I would like them here to see, the seed that they have planted, what has come of it. And I think grief comes so weirdly because initially it's something that you don't know what to do with your emotions because you don't want this happening. And as years go by, you somewhat, I don't even know if you come to terms with it, but you realize that this is it. They aren't coming back and you have to just carry on. But that brokenness remains in you. It remains in you. And I think for me, I don't know if you've experienced this, but as I've gotten older, I found a yearning for them even more.
It's like that. So with age, it's like there's this constant asking of who am I?
Yeah.
Why am I here?
Yeah.
What am I doing? When we're younger, we're just moving.
That's
it's
it. And you
hype.
don't really sit down to think, like really holistically think about this whole big picture called life.
Yes.
And what's our purpose here,
So when we're young, it's energy, it's
just
movement.
free-spirited you.
So when you get older, you start drinking tea.
I know, it's me and my robot.
And you, and during those 2 moments, you start, getting your aha moments
Yes,
and
yes.
your experiences. You start questioning a lot of things,
Absolutely.
and it's part of, it's the metamorphosis of life.
Of life.
It's what it is. So
It's like you just get this light bulb, like a switch goes on as you get older. And thoughts that you wouldn't have thought before, or the way you would have seen life before, is the way you kind of see it now. I feel like from such a spiritually richer perspective as well. Yeah, but it's very
there is
fulfilling.
a spiritual alignment. I was, when I was reflecting about this, my master's journey, I was like, if I had persevered at that time, 6 years ago, completed, signed, sealed, delivered, would my leadership journey have evolved the way that it has? I don't think so.
Yeah.
So initially, I had a topic in mind
Yeah.
for my research, and then I couldn't resonate. I was not in alignment. And then 4 years later, I'm in a different space in time. My mind is asking a lot of questions. My becoming is stronger. That caterpillar is metamorphosizing into this beautiful butterfly. Everything starts to take shape. The colors are showing.
It's making more sense.
It's making more sense. Now this research becomes more interesting.
Yes.
I've learned the ground. I've worked in government. I was inspector of mines. I learned the system. I went back to the mines. I work as a senior manager in a high intensive, high risk, high energy environment. And I've learned the people. So at the center of all this, it's leadership, where the three intersect. So I think the journey ended when it needed to.
Absolutely.
At the right moment, where everything makes sense. And when my daughter asked me, why are you doing all this? Then I can answer myself as, I'm getting tools to help me move to the next level of the game.
Absolutely.
Because just like that Super Mario game that we played, for you to get to the next level, you need to conquer the level where you are. Until that level it's mastered, it's conquered, you cannot unlock the next level. And I think for me, that has been the journey of my life. And my husband always reminds me, one day I'll come back to her and say, this guy spoke to me like this and this and that. And he'll look at me and say, Montsheng, for as long as you don't know how to manage such experiences, you're not ready to move to the next level. So you need to go through the journey of learning and learning. That's agility. And that's the resilience that everybody speaks about. Resilience to me, it's all about being able to pause, reassess, and rebuild.
Yeah, that's so important.
You can't move to the next level. That level
will
not come until the level one is fully completed.
It's done, it's dusted, it's complete.
Yes,
wow. Yeah. So I know you advocate for women in the workplace, right? What do you think? It's come a long way. It has come a long way, but there's still a lot of challenges. What do you think still needs to change?
The issue of women in the workplace, especially in high-risk environment in male-dominated industry, it's the culture. It's not more about compliance to equity statistics, to representation. It's no longer about that. It's how do we create a culture where human beings can work, be seen, participate, have a voice without judgment and critique, where we can just give our own talents, participate in a connection economy and build and design. Some of us are mining engineers. We want to design processes, systems that create a better working environment and a better mining industry for South Africa.
Yeah.
So women issues really is when I founded the Women in Mining Forum in Free State with my colleagues at the time, we said we want to create a space where women can have a voice. And some years back, I think it's 8 years or more, I was invited back to University of Johannesburg where I did my undergrad to a library discussion with mining engineering students.
Okay.
And one of the questions that came from the floor was, Montsheng, what is your goals, short-term, long-term? You know that question.
Yeah.
And I was sitting there, my mom was with me. She attended the session with me. And I said, I'm not sure about my long term, but what I know is that I want to find my voice. And once I found my voice, I want to be a platform where other women can find their voices too. Well. I remember coming to your podcast when we launched.
Yes.
There was this one speaker that said, when we find our voices, we give other women an opportunity to find theirs as well. So these Women in Mining Forums are exactly that. Yeah. And I think I've achieved that goal where I found my voice, used it in a community of women where we support each other. Because in boardrooms, we are outnumbered. But in these spaces, we are ourselves. We don't need to perform. And outside of the work environment, I'm also part of this women wellness movement. Also, where
the list goes on with you. You're just so impressive. It's just, I love it.
So it's, and to be honest, Chantal, it's not about doing more work. It's finding spaces where we don't want to find ourselves back in the red hole, where we burn out, we are lonely, we feel exclusion. We need to find our community. And this Women in Mining Forums, this Women Wellness Forum has been a community where I can be Montsheng fully without performance and strength.
And it's like a whole weight of you to just be you, with no judgment, no expectation, just be Montsheng.
Just be me.
Yes. And I think we need so much more of that. I mean, hence TBHF. We need more platforms like this. Women need to be standing together, raising each other, up. And I know we say this so often, but how often are we actually doing that? How often are we not judging one another? And as you mentioned, social media, you know how that is, so it's like, if we can't support one another, I mean, regardless of whether you're the CEO of a top engineering company or whether you're a sweeper on the street, if you're female, that's our common denominator. We're women, and that should be something that should link us all together, where we stand for one another, not deplete one another.
Chantal, I must say with honesty that throughout my journey, I have found women that have been generous.
Oh, lovely.
I found women that carried me. I have a few now currently around me. And one is my surrogate mom. She's in Valcom. And she was like, Montsheng, whenever you need to talk, I'm here for you. And we need to find our people. I was telling my husband this morning, saying to him, the brain always generates thoughts.
Yes.
All the time. We're thinking about stuff. And 80% of those thoughts are negative. 80% are negative. Yeah. So for you to lean into the 20% positive thoughts, that takes a bit of energy and action, né? Because the numbers wants to draw you to the negative 80%. And there's this rationale, the negative rationale about women in the workplace, that we don't support each other. I don't have that story to tell. I have found my people.
Wow.
And I intentionally look for them. Yes. And they intentionally find me. And that has been the light, the comfort, the natural environment that when this other side I feel less, I know I've got my people, the side that carries me.
It's so nice to actually hear that, because so often we hear that women are being put down, women, they can't find their people, they're too afraid to reach out of fear of being, judged. And to hear your story from such a positive, outlook with finding your people, and even in the work environment as well, it's amazing. That means times are changing. They definitely are changing.
And it comes with age.
Yes,
Maybe
yes.
15 years ago or 10 years ago, I'll think, this man. No.
Yeah.
What is the value proposition here? It's my colleague. Can we connect? Can we add value?
And what a difference it makes.
Yes.
If you come together.
And that's what humanity is all about.
That's it.
We're not individuals living there. That's why exclusion becomes a mental health issue, because we're not designed to be in isolation.
Absolutely. So, okay, I know you just mentioned about your surrogate. Can we delve into that a bit? I know it's totally off topic, but I want to know one thing. And yes, so were you both kids had via surrogate?
The surrogate mother.
Yeah.
Okay, so the surrogate mother, not for
you,
not for carrying my kid.
Okay.
She is mothering me.
Oh,
yes.
Okay.
She is mothering me.
See, I've had this moment, yeah.
Yes.
So
I'm like
yes.
I said,
we've
lost our parents. Now we need this an older woman figure
okay. Now I get you.
We need to.
Yes.
So this woman was my coach, life coach,
yes.
and we had sessions, professional sessions with boundaries. And the other day, we were sitting, and she was like, Montsheng, what do you want to get out of this relationship?
Yeah.
Like, why are you asking me such a serious question?
Yes.
I just wanna be.
Yeah.
Baba. And she said, then if that is the case, then it cannot be within the confinement of the HPCSA rules. I will get unlicensed. So we then went outside the working environment and we found another relationship where we intentionally book a tea session where we're just going to go and have tea and reflect.
How lovely.
And I can talk to her about everything.
Yes.
Without feeling judged.
And it's so nice to have that person. I think everyone needs to have their person for your highs, your lows, your, in the middles of life. So yeah, man.
So I met her at the gym 2 days ago. She's an older woman on pension. Yes. She was like, I'm like, is this what people do when we at work? Because I'm on leave now. That you just come in the morning, you jump into the pool, you do aqua aerobics with other oldies, and just like, this is what we do, man. So I am done with this other stuff. And I told her, look, this morning I had a fight with my son. Adile is 6 years. Like, what were you guys fighting about? It's a bit chilled in Welcome now, so we're given permission that kids can start wearing their winter uniform. So the winter uniform involves wearing a long sleeve shirt with the long pants, right. And then you must put on your tie. Adile loves ties, and
his coat. Right.
So now here is the breaking moment. The summer uniform shirt has a school badge on it.
Right.
So the new shirt, the winter shirt, doesn't have a school badge on it.
Okay.
So Attila tells, no, mommy, that's not my shirt. That's the girl's shirt. It doesn't have a badge. Chantal, the fight that we had that morning, the 6-year-old not giving in that's not the one that we wear, mommy. And he was crying. And I ended up saying, you know what? You are not going to school today. You can go sit, go and watch TV.
Yeah.
And then I was telling Khalala, my surrogate mother, about it. She was like, then how did it unfold? Sometimes with parenting, there's no script. Absolutely. So here is this, it's tantrums early in the morning. I'm sure the neighbors are like, what's going on in that house? So then Attila looks up to his big system.
Okay.
So I say, Shompo, please just put on your shirt and your winter uniform. Show Adile that when we do winter uniform, how it's done.
Right.
And then, okay, we looked at our sister, and
Then
later
it
on, we
was-
warmed up. And I apologized. I said, sorry, Attila, for being rough on you so early in
Yeah,
the morning. And
yeah.
he also apologized. And yeah, those are the things that
Sweet
we talk
moment.
about with,
But
with my mom.
that's it. I
Yeah.
think, because, you know, in a world where you sing, families seem to be picture perfect, where there seems to be no arguments or no, you know, people are afraid to also share something like this. I know I have at every day, at any given moment, actually, in the morning, there's one of my three sons having some meltdown about something that is actually weird. The other day, they were all so chilled. They were down in time for breakfast. They were leaving the house at the proper time. Nobody picked on each other. No one interfered. And I'm like, I looked at my husband. I'm like, what's wrong with our children? Something's not right. This is not normal.
Yes.
I didn't scream at anybody, you know. But you're right. Parenting, I think, comes with no rule book. There's no rule book. I could say, oh, Montsheng, you know, if you're going through something with one of your kids, you know what? I went through something similar, maybe try this. But it doesn't necessarily mean like, hey, it worked for me, it's going to work for you. I think as a mum, as parents, you just got to do what works for you.
Exactly.
You know?
There's no script.
There's no script to it. I
um,
wish sometimes there were, but there's no.
Yes, and
Yeah.
that book that I was telling you about the myth of normal. So
Yes, yes.
Dr. Mathieu further says to say that no child has the same parent.
Oh, yeah.
And we have children through different phases of our lives, and they don't get to experience the same parent. We also don't get to parent the same way for the same child. So
yes.
after reflected with my mom on this issue, he said the most profound thing that you did is making amends, because we don't want to go through the day with that
Yeah,
emotion.
And not, yes. And being like, oh, mom was upset with me.
Yes. Mom
or
is
I was
mean.
upset.
Yeah.
Yes. I've got this line of, I always, even if I'm really grumpy at what they've done, or if they've had a bit of attitude, when they're leaving the house, I'll be like, no, but I love you, and I love you more than anything in the world, and I'll do anything for you. And you can be grumpy going to school, but just know that I love you. And my husband just laughs and he walks off, because we are two very different. We parent together, but also differently. I'm very much this disciplinarian, and very much you'd hear me screaming like a banshee most of the time, right? And he is more of the calm, serene kind of, where there are days where I'm like, can you put a bit of scream in you, you know?
Get some
Like,
energy.
Exactly. So we always seem to kind of, he finds it so funny that I have to raise my voice, and I'm like, if I have to scream at them to get it done, we gotta do what we have to do. And I still love them. I mean, I haven't put them up for sale yet on the street, so we good. But that's it. That's parenting. I think that's how life is. And you shouldn't be hard on yourself that you're being a bad mom. Yes. Because kids go through bad moments and days where they're grumpy. We as adults, we go through days where we're just in a mood. We come home and it's like, oh, we're really not up for long conversations right now, you know? And I've got my middle boy, he loves having a conversation. And in the times, it's like he just chooses the times when you're really exhausted. And I know I constantly would use these lines or these words. Oh, wow, that's awesome. That's so exciting, especially if I'm cooking or whatever you. And sometimes you'll turn around and go like, Mom, why are you responding to me with those words? Did you actually hear what I said? Mm-hmm. And then you're like, quickly step and you're like, ooh, I actually was not paying attention. You know, and they catch you out on these things.
They do.
But you know what? And I've had to explain to him, like, sometimes mom is really tired. So how's about let me finishing what I'm doing, and then I can sit down and I can give you full of my attention, even if it's for 10 minutes or 15 minutes. Because it's difficult as well when you've got to share your time, with 3 or 2 I mean, I'm sure even with one, it's just,
Still time.
and still do everything else. So yeah, motherhood. It's. What has been the challenges for you though?
So, I put my son to sleep every night.
Right.
A 6-year-old who doesn't want to sleep every night. Sleeping is an extreme sport in that house.
I love it.
And every time sometimes I fall asleep with him, when I even had plans to say,
Right.
I'm just quickly going to put him down and then I'll
Okay.
get 1, 2, 3 done. And sometimes we doze off. And in those moments of him struggling, not wanting, deliberately refusing to sleep, he has the whole day events that he wants to relay and tell me.
Oh my God, yeah.
From the beginning of the day, what the teacher said,
And I'm sure
what
it's every point.
this girl
Yes,
said, what
yes.
I don't like girls, I want to be with them, everything, all the emotions throughout the day.
Yeah.
And we have this 30 minutes that we need to sleep, and I must listen to all this.
Yeah.
So
I feel
when
you.
that young man sleeps, I'm like,
breathe. I feel you.
okay, can we talk about the day in the life of a mom? And through all this, I'm working in a mining industry, waking up early in the morning, leaving my kids, never get to take them to school, coming back home late, rushing, fixing quick dinners, juggling everything.
it's a
Sometimes I forget that the homework needs to be done. We had something that I missed in the school WhatsApp group.
Oh, that's me on like a normal basis. That's me forgetting things.
So all this,
Yeah.
and at the end of the day, we give ourselves grace and say, we're grateful that we show up every day.
Yes.
We lead with integrity, and we create spaces where others
Yes.
find themselves and don't leave depleted. We light, our candles everywhere we go. We come back home to our kids, and we try by all means to show up emotionally there and leading ourselves with respect, with grace, and with love.
You know, that's
Daily.
so well said. So well said and so well put. Because we do put a lot of weight on ourselves and a lot of pressure on ourselves to be good mums, be great mums, you know. But we also got to understand that great mums are not perfect mums. And accept that we are allowed to give ourselves grace and have our moments. Because we're human too.
Yes.
I mean, we did push those little humans out of us, for crying out loud, you know. And that alone took so much energy. So we have to give ourselves grace and be okay with it, because our kids are just, they have a kind of love in them that's so unconditional that they could be grumpy with you in this moment and just smother you with, you know, love in the next. And they don't take things to heart the way us as adults do. So I think, it's so important that we give ourselves the grace that we need.
We learn from them. I was speaking in a forum about different generations and where we come from, and the generation that is here, the Gen Alphas. And I said to parents, I was speaking in a forum of mining the regional tripartite forum in Free State, and I said, as parents, we're missing out on opportunity to learn from our children because we think we know it all.
Yeah.
We have been there, done that, got the badges. You have not learned this generation of life.
Absolutely.
So we need to also give ourselves time to come back.
Yes.
And go down and allow the new generation, the new entrants into this life thing to lead us, being led from the bottom as a parent. Imagine learning from a Gen Alpha whose life has just been about technology, about experiences, everything, the social media,
so
the news,
compared to
the
to
world
us.
information system, it's at our fingertip.
Yeah.
And you just learning and absorbing and going with them.
Absolutely.
And compare that with locking yourself out and say, no, I've been there, done that, got the t-shirt.
We actually haven't. You know, funny enough, before you arrived for your episode, we were actually chatting about women back in the day of like, well, how we were raised. And I remember when I got married, it was a thing of, well, even with my sisters as well, you know, a woman's got to be home, got to be, you know, have the dinner ready. Kids have to be all had a bath and in their pajamas. The house has to be conspicuously neat before the husband comes home. And my sisters and I, even my cousins, we all just laugh at this now because we're like, our mums did such an injustice to us, because no, that's not how it is. We carry basically the same weight as our husbands. No, we can't have all of these things done, but we were programmed in that way that and this is how I see like a lot of hindrances when it comes to marriages and mum-in-laws and daughter-in-laws, because mother-in-laws were programmed in a certain way of how a woman should be, how a wife should be, and how a mother should be. And we're in different way of life at the moment. You know, we don't need to come home and make dinner. Hey, if there's a special from Monday to Friday at certain takeouts, and if husband and wife are like, we good with that, grab the meal when we're getting home, kids are fed, you know, you both are fed, we're all good. But coming from the old school way of looking at it, it would be like, oh gosh, she can't even cook a good meal for her kids. Like, why judge that? No, her kids are fed. They're fed and they're good, you know? So it's that mentality. As you say, we've got so much more to learn. We coming from, yes, our kids will not understand a telephone that you gotta physically go and dial, and you know, they're not gonna understand walking to a library and having to got a project that you need to deal with and go through the encyclopedia and photocopy and then bring it back home, and then you gotta like, you know, take out, extract the information, put your projects together. No, for them, everything is at the touch of a button. And yes, old school values, don't get me wrong, I still do believe a lot in old school values, but we also gotta keep up with the times to keep up with our kids as well.
But the thing with marriage and being the woman of the house, I think our parents, or maybe the society, is not honest about what happens. Everybody has a story that they learned from somebody that they want to justify and portray. But the realities of lived experiences, it's different. Even the glorious stories that we learned, that mothers will come take their kids to school all made up and everything, go back home, go to the gym, come back with what time?
I would like to know. Huh? They are doing maybe a 34-hour day or something.
There's no such, ma'am. I think, and social media is exaggerating this lie.
Absolutely.
Because we post only the nice things.
Not the whole crazy chaos behind.
Not the whole.
Yes, yes.
Not the cake. And there's I feel like every person gets to learn about marriage and parenting and being a partner in relationship while you're in it.
Yeah.
And that's where you learn about compromises, where you learn about patience, where you learn about sharing, where you learn about supporting other people, being there for them emotionally, where you realize that, hey, as we sit here, the two of us, there's two people on this table. My nervous system, your nervous system, my inner child, your inner child. And we get to understand all this. So, a person is a whole.
Yeah.
And we mustn't try to be perfect all the time. I think
it's exhausting.
It's exhausting. We just need to leave, eh?
Yes.
I said to my husband the other day to say, you know, the obituary when you die, it's going to be written by your children. Maybe I'll be old and couldn't read and see at that time. They will tell the version of how they knew you.
Yeah.
Not the version that you've been trying to protect.
Yes. Yes.
Will be maybe 5 lines. My dad lived. He worked at the mine for 30 years. And may his soul. He leaves home 2 children. May his soul rest in peace.
Just that summed up. Your life summed up in 5 lines. truth. That is the truth of, yeah, we have to show up as us, man. Show up as you, unapologetically you, and be okay with it, be happy with it, be content with it. I think so. We can't end off our session without, I mean, this is truth bombs and hot flushes. So you coming into midlife and all of that, what has your experiences been from that midlife, that glorious midlife perspective? Have you experienced, the whole midlife drama, the beauty and the chaos?
So in my head, I still believe that I'm 25 years old.
Yes.
But my daughter reminds me every day that no, mommy, you are an old person. Just the other day we were fighting.
The cheek.
Yeah. I went to an aqua aerobics class and I said, no, some of you guys are not going to school next week, so I'm going to take you to the aqua aerobics.
Yes.
It's like, no, mom, that's
for old people. Gosh,
Chantal,
I think it's so fun.
I laughed until I dropped. I never saw it. No, I'm 25. No, yes. Mom, you are old.
Yeah.
You've got 2 children. The one is too old, the other. And she constantly reminds me, no, you're not that young anymore, you're older. And I think the body as well, you start to feel it. I learned recently that our body starts to degenerate from the age of 35.
That's something I didn't know.
Yes.
Wow.
So you start feeling your back, start feeling your neck, your knees.
The back and the neck, that's a special one.
Yeah. So awareness for me during this period is listening to my body. And I think it came with harsh experiences throughout the journey.
Yes.
It's listening to my body. Be graceful to my body, knowing when to pause. When I see that back, it's starting to get a little bit tired in the neck, knowing when to sit, breathe, and then do those little mini exercises to give...
Like loosen it up and...
Yes. So also, the midlife has brought a lot of questions for me as a person. It's during this journey that I did a lot of journaling about who am I? What are my values? My husband and I went on a retreat the other day just to learn. We went on, did an exercise about refining and naming our values as individuals, as a collective, as a family. And those are important things to me. Now, I come from a family of 4 where I was the youngest. And my mom and dad and my siblings were there, and everybody that lived at home were one big happy family. And family to me, it's the center of my existence.
Yes.
And during this moment in my life where I remember my dad, I long for my mom, I want to become the version of myself. I want to be there in my communities and raise the self-aware kids. I'm confronted with the questions of why? Who am I? And I think those are deep midlife processes that constantly wants you to be honest, internalize. Why?
Yeah.
Why am I doing this?
I think we reflect more.
We do.
Into our inner being, inner self.
Yes. So I do a lot of writing. I journal. Last year I was introduced to a journaling method, the Gibbs method of reflection.
Okay.
It asks you to describe the situation, to analyze, evaluate it, and to name the emotion, how you felt when that situation happened.
Yeah.
After naming your emotions, to ask yourself, why am I feeling the way that I feel? So you go in levels deeper and say, should the situation present itself again, what would I do differently? And what is my action plan going forward? So it's a profound reflective tool that took me from just journaling for the sake of just
Yes,
writing and
yes.
letting my thoughts
Yes.
into the ink. This one goes in deeper. And that's where I found my growth. I use that as part of my leadership growth. Everywhere I go, I carry a journal. I carry journal, I give journals. I talk about this Gibbs method because it brings ownership back to self. It's not about what's happening in the environment, what our moms told us, what we learned growing up, what our kids do. It's about myself. Because between stimuli and response, there's a space. And in that space, it's our freedom of choice. Every decision that we make, given any situation, we decide the action that we take. Decision or no decision, it's still a decision.
That is so true.
So I'm doing a lot of journaling and taking ownership for my journey because nobody's going to save us, Chantal.
Yes, that's so important that we take ownership. It's so important to take ownership because it is your journey. It really is your journey. So, yeah, it's this crazy phase in life, eh? It's such a major reflective phase because I think I reflect on things that I would have never in my life, even in my 30s, you know. But it also comes with a deeper, more meaningful peace, if that makes sense. That you become so at ease with a lot of life's decisions and, you know, but again, it only comes at a specific period or stage in your life, which generally is, I guess we keep calling it midlife, but I feel like going in your 40s or your 50s, you feel like you're not as young anymore, but you're also not so old, and you just slap bang there. And then the reality of life is that, you know, life really is, it's about moments. It's definitely about moments and memories, but also you realize you're so, I don't know, I feel like I don't know how to put this into.
So you are in a space where you've got somebody once said it's a sandwich generation. So you've got your older parents that you're taking care of.
Yeah.
You've got yourself, and you're at the peak of your career.
Yeah.
And you've got these little people that are depending on you. So you are in the middle of being this person that wants to understand all this in a collective.
Yes.
And I don't know, but I think it's a space where one becomes wiser. That's the maturity phase.
That's it.
I can't explain it as well, but it's about maturity where...
And it is, you know, we grow up knowing that as you get older, you become wiser. You know, it's always been this line, you're older, you're wiser. But really, you do become wiser. It's like you become a bit woke, in a sense.
So let me make an example.
Yeah.
When I started working, I bought myself a Toyota Test.
Right.
First car, my red Toyota Test.
Right.
My friends that knew me from then knew the car.
Yeah.
I remember driving that car to Devon at some point and then losing it at the beach. I couldn't find it.
No.
So the second car of my dreams was a BMW. And I got a BMW X1.
Right.
Yeah, I remember. That was the car of the moment. Looking back, when life happened, that was the first car that I needed to let go when my life shifted.
Yeah.
And 10 years later or 15 years later, reflecting on the 25-year-old me and the woman that's entering her 40s, decisions that I make now are more profound. I would have not even considered a BMW there.
Yes.
But at that point, it made sense. It fulfilled a need at that time.
And you in your 20s, you wanted something just zhush, and
Yes.
but that's as far as you thought of, like,
Yes.
it's the car. It's the car.
But now, during this period, I think my relationship with money has evolved. I look at myself, I say, Montsheng, you're working, your body is your asset, number one. If anything should happen to you, you're out of the game. You don't have the means.
That's it.
So how do we become proactive? Can we de-risk our life,
Yeah.
look at opportunities, apply your risk management
Yes,
skills
yes.
in real life? And should anything happen, how do I buy my freedom? So we moved from this reactive spending into a more mindfulness, intentional use of financial muscle. And that, my husband will say, oh, you are the most stingy person that I know. And I'm like, really? I don't think so.
It's not about that. It's about also, and I get where you're coming from. It's like you want to create basically a generational wealth. You want to see for not now. I always see ahead, like ahead, 10 years from now or what, because yes, we're going to, and we've got young kids. Kids have to go through to university, tertiary, all of that. Then we get to a point where it's time for us to retire. And you also want to try and retire comfortably.
Exactly.
And, so it's not about, I understand. Listen, we all, to a degree, are materialistic. We all would like to live in a nice house and drive a nice car. But I think our priorities when we're in our 20s and then our priorities later on in life, two very different things. In your 20s, yes, we'll go and just splash on an X1. Not worried whether, maybe I should actually look at investing in a home or, no, I need to be driving my, my car, my poshy car. But now priorities change because it really doesn't matter whether I'm driving that BMW or I'm not driving the BMW, but I need to figure out that I'm comfortable for the next so-and-so years, or, your mind just thinks totally differently when it comes to finances.
It shifts completely. Yeah. And that's to me, the most profound and the most significant part of midlife it gives you a nudge into making final decisions with intentions. So my relationship has evolved. I'm more into building, should anything happen to me that my body cannot be able to generate what it is currently.
Yes.
I looked at my future. Where do I want to be? And I started planning backwards.
Yeah.
Great
way of thinking of it.
And generational wealth, it's not about building money, stacks and stacks of money. It's can we enjoy life while we're still building for the next generation to have a start? Because our parents did it for ourselves.
Yes.
My dad working at that mine and me having that. He paved the way for me. What am I going to leave for the next generation?
Yes. That's it. You've got to look at it from that perspective, not just creating a lump sum and leaving it there for, something that's they're going to carry on and that legacy is going to carry on. So looking back at, before we close up, looking back at Montsheng at 17, receiving the news that you've got this bursary and you're going to go into this learnership, to fast forwarding to Montsheng right now, wife, mother, doing exceedingly well in your career. What advice would you have given that 17-year-old, that young, ambitious 17-year-old, and all the trials and tribulations that came along in between?
I'm looking at her, very tiny, innocent little girl. I will say to her, Montsheng, you're doing well. Keep doing what you are doing now. Your perseverance, your grit, your resilience, your passion for knowledge, your inquisitivity, your presence, your patience, your connections with people have put us where we are now. And we are here in Hillcrest having a conversation about, Chantal, about your journey. And it has been profound. And I'm happy that you were you when you needed to be. when opportunity presented itself, you came forward and you were prepared all the time. And we live to experience your dreams.
We're hoping for huge growth. We want to create a movement here with TBH, you know.
Yes.
But yeah, it's like women like you that's so empowering and so inspirational that makes TBHF what it is. So we're so extremely appreciative of you. And I need you to just give us a few lines for women out there that they're trying their utmost and again keep falling. They keep falling and getting to a point where they don't want to get up. What's your advice that you could just give them?
So I will say, own your truth. Be honest with yourself. You've got nobody to impress. You sleep with yourself, you live with yourself, you wake up with yourself. Be honest with yourself and look for your people. They're there. Find your tribe and it will find you as well. And the other thing that I carry deeply in my heart, my journey has not been a linear, straight career path. It has been turns and changes. I moved from being a production leader to being a regulator to being a senior manager, from breaking rocks to talking about culture at the workplace. And I always say to women out there, find your niche. Don't be afraid to try something different. If this one doesn't work and we have fallen, we get up and we try again. If it means using a different method, let's test and see if it will go through. But at the center of it, when opportunity present themselves, be ready.
Grab it. Yeah.
Be ready. Be prepared.
Absolutely. Oh, thank you so much for joining us today. I feel like we could go on with this conversation. I'm just enjoying it so much. I really think you're an amazing, powerful woman. And I think you've got so much more to give out there to so many more people. I think your whole demeanor, you've really graced us with your beautiful presence today, and we're so appreciative of it. So
thank you, Chantal,
so much.
for you and your crew for having me. It has been such a lovely experience. Just when I got your call to come, I was at your launch, and
Yes.
I told Cindy that this is very beautiful movement that the team is doing here, and we need such platforms where we can just talk.
Yes.
Just talk.
Just talk. There's no pressure behind it, no perfection behind it.
No performance.
Just
talk.
performance. And I think it's so important to have these.
Yes. So thank you very much, ma'am, for your platform. May it be grow. May it grow to be bigger and strong and touch lives.
Oh, thank you. I think that's our huge and most important intention, is that if it touches one person, or brings one person forward from them being stuck in a hole, and not knowing what direction. And if we can change that even in one person, I feel, we would have done our job.
Thank you.
Yes. Guys, that's it for this episode of Truth Bombs and Hot Flashes. See you again in the next episode. Bye.